There we go. We're live. So I'm going to be going through a couple different charts. I won't spend too much time on this, but I'm going to leave you with a website that has a bunch of other options for charts, which I've taken most of this from. So to start off, if you've got data that's already set up, all you need to do to insert a chart is go over to Insert. You've got all sorts of different recommended chart options. So if I go ahead and insert this bar graph for this one option that I have in my table, I can go ahead and get a bar graph that will change dynamically when I go ahead and type these in. Now, all Excel does is this bar graph chart that I've done here. So what I'm going to do is, or what I've done here, is I've augmented that a little bit by creating a picture of Shanghai's skyline and just kind of overlaying that over the bar chart. So if I move this, you can kind of see what I'm doing. So really what's happening is I'm just moving this different, the different heights for the bar chart dynamically based on what field I have in here, what percentage. And I've forced the data range to go from 0 to 100. And I've got this extra text box that I have on top of everything that's telling you the number so that you can still see. Then I've got this graphic that we've created, which is transparent, that I can resize here, so that the top of this building is around the 100 mark. And we've turned this into something of an infographic now. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'll create a new document and we'll show you how to do that. So I started off by making a table, which does have a header through, actually want two of these. Okay, and I'm going to call this the percentage of students still in Shanghai. I can't really see that top of the table, so I'm going to go ahead and just expand that column enough so that we can see what the label is. And we'll type in a sample percentage here, so 75%.
Where can we create the table?
Where can you create the table? Under Insert, there should be an option for a table.
Okay.
Okay. So then I'm going to highlight the field that has the 75 in it. So just click that and go over to Charts. We want to insert a two-dimensional column. So I'm going to go to 100% stacked column. Actually, let's do clustered column. Change it up a little bit. So clustered column. And I should see an automatically generated graph that has percentage of students still in Shanghai, something like this. You'll notice if I change the values here, I'm actually not going from 0 to 100 right now. So if I change this to 45, the whole graph actually changes for the axes.
Okay.
And I don't want that necessarily to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this chart a little bit. So if you click anywhere on the chart area, so it's anywhere in the white space, you should see a plus icon that comes up with its elements that we can edit. So I'm going to go into more options for the axes. That'll give us a couple options that we can do here. Okay, so more specifically, if I go up here, I want the vertical axis grid lines. Okay, so I'm on vertical value axis. And if you go to axis options, we can change what the bounds of our graph are going to show. So you can see right now it's on automatic, so it's going to change those maximum and minimum values based on what value I have in the table. Instead of automatic, I'm going to go to maximum and change that to 100. And now we've fixed our chart from 0 to 100. Go ahead and set the minimum too. So minimum will be 0. Okay. Then I don't really need these grid lines here either. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. So I'm going to go over to vertical value axis major grid lines. And I'm going to go over to fill and turn them off, so no line. And see all of my lines have just gone away. Okay, so that gives us some white space to work with. Okay, so then I'm going to go in and I'm going to go ahead and make our graphic that we can put over this. So let me find a decent clip art really quick. Last time I used this Shanghai Skitty Skyline clip art. This time I think I'll do something different. So we'll find a clip art of a student maybe. Okay, I guess this works. So I'm gonna wait for this to load first, but then I'm gonna grab this clip art, and we're gonna edit that in a photo editing program. So I'll do something like this. Open my image in a new tab. So I've got the image that we want here. I'm just gonna copy that and paste that into this photo editing program that I have. So the photo editor I'm using is a free photo editor called paint.net. I'll leave a link in the WeChat.
Okay, thank you.
There is a Linux version available. But it's really kind of like Photoshop. So what it allows us to do is create a bunch of different layers. Now, this is actually kind of nice because we already have a transparent background in here, but I'm going to pretend we don't have that. So I'll go ahead and add a background really quick here. Just so we can get rid of it. So I want to select everything that's not the kids. So if I go to this magic wand icon and click, that'll highlight everything that's the same color as what I just pressed. And that's going to allow me to delete everything that was in the background there. So now you can see if I get rid of the background here, I've got transparency behind this.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I actually want though is the opposite. I want the people that they've drawn to be transparent. So what I'm going to do is undo what I just did. Do that same thing with the magic wand, so highlight all the blank space. But then I'm going to invert my selection. So I'm going to go over to Edit, Invert Selection, and now everything that was not highlighted is highlighted. And I can just delete that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time. Magic wand, select all of our white space, edit, invert our selection. I'm going to go down here to our gray image and delete. Okay, so now if I show you the layer I'm working with right now here in the middle, I've got this gray image with a bunch of people in the middle that are all transparent. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and that was Control A for select all, Control C for copy, and now I'm ready to paste into our Excel document. So I'm just going to move over here to a blank field and paste. Okay, so here's our image of 2 students. I'm actually going to turn our grid lines back on briefly. Just so I can see how high I need to go. I'll turn them back off in a second. Okay, so there's all of our grid lines, so I can see how high this image needs to get to. So I'm going to stretch this just a little bit so that the top of our image is at 100%. Okay, then I'm a little bit wider than what I need to be, so I've got 2 options. I could either expand this chart so that the blue becomes wide enough for us to use, like that. And we could get rid of our grid lines and be done if we wanted to be. And now I can type in any number I want, and this will change the amount of students that are filled in based on the value. But it is a little bit harder for me to see the percentage with the grid lines. Also, I've got this extra 1 down here where, because I only had 1 field, that's not terribly useful. So I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that 1. So if I go over here to horizontal category axis,
Okay.
I'm going to go over to text options and change the text fill to no fill, and that will get rid of that 1 for me. So I don't need to worry about that part. Okay, now because it's a little bit hard to see what this percentage is though, I'm going to go ahead and insert an extra text field over the top of this that will tell me what the percentage is. So I'm going to go over to insert text, and I'm going to make this just text box this time. So see a little cursor pop up, and I can throw that wherever I want. So I'm going to throw this over the guy's head. And we're going to set our field for this with our equal sign, and then shift click the value in the table that you want. Oop, formula is missing a reference. Okay, that's because I only have 1 field in this table, so instead I'm just going to cite that that space. So that is A2, so capital A2, and hit enter, and that should change dynamically based on whatever value I type. Okay, but it is leaving a white space for us. That's not very, oops, typed in the bottom. It is leaving a white space for us. That isn't particularly pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this text box, get rid of our border, and get rid of our fill. So if I go into shape format, under shape outline, I'm going to put no outline. And under shape fill, I'm going to put no fill. That just makes this transparent. I'm also going to make this a lot bigger for our text value so that we can read it. And because I have to be able to read this number, whether it's on top of white or on top of blue, I'm going to go ahead and change our fill and outline as well. So I'm going to make this a white letter with a black outline. So it's a little bit easier to read. Maybe we can make that even bigger. Okay, so something like that. I'll test it out. I didn't be able to see double digits, actually, now that I think about it. So if I change this to 45, Okay, I can't see the 45, so I do need to change this a little bit. Let's move this up. There we go. We'll need to be able to see 100 as well, so I guess this does need to be a little bit smaller. Let's try 100. So that's 3 digits. Okay, there we go. We'll go ahead and center that over his face. And we'll see if it still looks alright with 2 digits or 1 digit. So there's 2 digits and 1 digit. Okay, if I don't want it as part of the picture, I could throw it out somewhere out here. So here's my 7. And you'll be able to see what's happening as we go up dynamically. Okay, so let's say I want to change this, and I want the girls and guys to be shown separate. So I'm going to go back into my editor. I'm going to give us a little bit of space between the girl and the guy so we don't overlap at all. It's a little bit hard for me to tell if we're overlapping now or not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my canvas size. Actually, I get a better idea while I do this, so I apologize. But I'm actually going to change our chart here first. So let me move this back down to a normal size. I'm going to base our size of the picture based on the size of our chart. So I'm going to add an extra field here for boys and girls. I'm also going to right click and insert another column to the left. That will give us our labels for girls and boys. That I can go back and show in a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit our chart again. I'm going to go over to our axes, and under our options this time, I do want our axes here to be visible. So I'm going to go to our horizontal category axis, and I am going to fill that, text fill, with solid fill. Okay, so that was 1 and 2. We need to edit our data actually, so that it can take these girls and guys as well. Chart design, select data. There we go. So I've got girls and boys. Okay, and do you want this to be a little bit fatter if we can? That might be enough. Okay, so girls and boys. And I'm going to base the size of our picture this time on the chart that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and capture a screenshot really quick of how big our chart is. We're going to use that to base how big our picture will be. So I'm just going to go up to add another layer, and I'm going to paste it in and expand the canvas to that size. And I'll move this down so we can get an idea of how that's going to look with our layer that we're actually working with here, which for me is layer 3. Okay, so I want my girl and the guy to be on top of this image. I need to be as high as the top of this, and I need to extend down to the bottom. So I am going to start out by just stretching our image a little bit. So let me select, here's the gray part of our image. I'm going to stretch this out so that we're tall enough. am tall enough right now, but I don't want any overlap. So right now is kind of a good size for the girl. I'm actually going to move and make a little bit more space between the girl and the guy, I think. So I've got this lasso tool that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to draw... I'm going to draw a line between them. So something like this. So that I can select all of the space that's on the right-hand side. I'm going to move those pixels over. So I'm clicking and holding and moving the arrow key so that I can move this over to where I want it. So that's about right. And then I want to fill in all the space in between with more gray space. So I'm going to click my box tool again and select all of this space in here. And then I'll paste some gray space in the middle. Okay, now I can crop to that image, crop to selection, and I've got, here's what it'll end up looking like with our girl and the guy. We also probably don't need these stars. I don't think they'll be covered up with the columns rise. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of the stars this time too. So we'll just paste some gray space over that. Okay. So if I turn off this layer, you can see I've got a transparent space behind both of these images. But we've sized it out so it should be the right size for our graph, so that I can just paste over this. So again, I'm just going to paste in and move that over until we are on top of our chart.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll try changing some values here. Just to make sure it works. All right, any questions on what we did so far?
No.
Okay, so that's just one way you could make an infographic out of this. Again, I'm just sort of cheating way and using a photo editor and the charts that they already have. Let me show you a couple other different types of charts they have available. So I've got a number of other Excel documents that were prepared by the website. I'm going to flash at the end, which I'll start pulling up now. Okay. So I've got here a radial bar chart.
Yes.
So this is a bar chart, but just shown as a radius. And that kind of gives you an idea of how much of a cut that product 4 would be of product 5 visually.
That's cool.
It's a little bit easier to see kind of fractions of one product to another. Here I've got the hardest one to make actually out of all of these that I'll be showing. Oops, sorry, not this one. The next one's hardest. So this one, this one's a histogram. But what's interesting about it is we've conditionally formatted our axes so that everything negative shows up red, which is a little bit easier to see. If I go in here to our options again, we take a look at our, which one do I want? I want the vertical value axis. Do I want series 1 data labels? Series 1 data labels. Okay, so for series 1 data labels, you can see everything's highlighted here. If I go into the text box, nope, that's not what I wanted either. Okay, that is what I wanted. How do I get to it though? I don't know. I'm still on Series 1 data labels. But Series 1 data labels, if you click the label options and go under number, you can see under type, they've got a conditional statement where I'm going to show this symbol in the percentage, and then if it's negative, we're showing red.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. Okay, this last one. This last one's the hardest to program. It's actually got some Visual Basic involved.
Yeah.
So there's some programming in the back end of this, but what it's going to do is I can change the start date here, and that will change which part of all of these dates, which I have 3 years of data on product A, B, and C. I could change the start date here. So if I go to 360, you can see I'm starting in year 2. If I go back to 1, I'm starting in year 1. But if I enable our basic code, when I hit start, it'll actually move along all of those. So you can see the, what's happening to all of our data as we stepped through it, which is kind of cool.
Wow, that's
So all that's doing is that's increasing our start point. So that's changing the field that's in the start point based on an interval. So every so many milliseconds, it's increasing our start interval. And we'll end up seeing those flash frames as a video, kind of. And that gives you a really cool visual for what's happening to all of our products over the course of those 3 years. Okay, and if I hit the reset button, all that does is that resets the start here in this line to 1. Very cool.
yeah, that's really cool.
All right, so I'm going to leave all of these examples. I have left all of these examples over on the WeChat. If you want to see some other cool chart templates, so things that are already pre-made for you that you can just edit. I've taken 3 of our examples from this website here. That offers a number of free templates and then a couple paid options as well too, I think, for some more advanced stuff. This is from Excel Dashboard School. Everything that I've used today is the free stuff that's available on their website. But there's lots of good stuff there if you want to check it out. And I'll leave a link to that in the WeChat as well.
Okay, thank you.
Oops, looks like I only sent that link to Junho earlier for the paid program I'm using. Let me go ahead to their website too. Get a proper link. Okay, so I'm going to end this after I get that link for the homework. I want you to create an Excel document with a visual overlay similar to what we did in class. And then send me the Excel document when you're done. Okay, and here's that link again. If you want to use your own graphics as practice for later, then you can use the program I've got as a photo editor or any other photo editor you want. Save your photos in a PNG format, and then any transparent color, when you paste it into Excel, will still be transparent.
Okay.
If you don't want to deal with the photo edit at all, you can go to the website that I linked here for the dashboards. And they've got different infographics that are pre-made for you. And you can use one of those, but you'll just need to match it to your own data.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot for coming. I think we might be breaking out for Excel next time. I'm going to look into how hard it'll be to download a programming suite. So a self-development kit, either Anaconda or Visual Studio on Linux. If it's easy enough to download on Linux, then I'll be doing that next class period just to get us set up to do some more intense programming. And we'll eventually tie that back into Excel by editing some of our documents so that we can do some of the more advanced stuff that we saw done today.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
All right, thanks a lot, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.